Greetings, my name is Hans and I'm making a rough video on how to explore the special feature of microtuning on a Korg Monologue. To begin, press the Edit Mode button and then turn the program knob to make sure it's selecting Global Edit. And then you're going to want to press the 11th button from the left on the sequencer row to access user octave 1. And you can press it again to select user octave 2 through 6. Once you've selected which user octave number you wish to program, you can begin editing. And depending on your purposes, you may want to mentally decide on a root note and leave that note unaltered, which means that it will be left at 0. So if you look, my root note will be D, set at 0. And as a tip, it may be helpful for selecting your microtunings to create a drone using that root note on another device or synth in order to hear what your tuning sounds like against that drone. For example, I sometimes use the iTabla Pro app on my iPhone to generate a tambura drone, and I play my tunings over that in order to get a sense of how the tuning offsets have affected the relationships between the notes. A tambura drone sounds like this. In order to edit, you want to play the key which corresponds to the note that you want to adjust, as I have done with this D. And you will see that note registered on the display along with the current offset tuning in cents. And cents means the percentage of the distance between semitones in equal temperament, which means that there are 100 cents between each semitone. And if you prefer, you can do this process methodically by ascending through the chromatic scale until you've adjusted them all. Now, once the note is selected and registered on the display, you can turn the program value knob to the right to sharpen the tuning in positive valued cents, or turn it to the left to flatten the tuning in negative valued cents. Next, you can play the note again to hear the change you've made. And from that, you can hear how much it's been detuned. Now, it appears as though you cannot offset a note beyond plus 49 cents or beyond negative 50 cents. But that is actually not the case. It is possible by shifting the registered note, the note on the right side, to an adjacent note either above or below, like this. Which can then be offset to end up in that range. Now I'm going to shift this back. So for example, if I want this D sharp tuned to a plus 58 cents, then I'm actually going to have to shift the registered note on the right there to the E above it, and then I'm going to have to set E at negative 42 cents. By doing this, I have a roundabout way of arriving at the originally intended D sharp, which was tuned to plus 58 cents. So for the sake of making a microtuning example, I will program the intervals for the Arabic maqam known as Hijaz, which uses D as the root note. The next note up is a D sharp with an offset tuning of 13 cents sharp. Now, according to Ali Jihad Rasi, who mentioned in his book titled Making Music in the Arab World, this second note in the scale can at times be made even more sharp than this. Therefore, I could tune the E down to negative 42 cents to achieve this. In order to have access to this special intonation of the second scale degree of Hijaz. The third scale degree is F sharp, and it's going to be tuned negative 15 cents. The fourth scale degree is a G, tuned negative 2 cents to make it a perfectly tuned fourth in relation to the root note. The fifth scale degree is going to be an A, tuned plus 2 cents to make it a perfectly tuned fifth in relation to the root note. The sixth scale degree is sometimes defined as a A sharp tuned negative 8 cents, like that. And sometimes as B, tuned negative 40 cents. So I will program those accordingly to be able to access a special intonation of that note. The seventh scale degree would be a C, tuned to negative 4 cents. And now I have a synth authentically tuned to Maqam Hijaz, and that also includes subtle variations in the intonation of the intervals. I'll play it against the drone so that you can hear how that would sound. Once you have finished adjusting the tuning of all the notes except the root, you can begin playing in that tuning to check it out. Then press the exit button to finish editing. It will automatically save these microtuning offsets to the user octave number that you have specified. In my case, it was number 6. And you can apply this tuning to a specific program sound. First, you would turn the program knob to select the program you wish to have this tuning, And then you would press edit mode, and you would make sure that the display has program edit selected by turning the program knob. Then you press the 7th button from the left on the sequencer row to access microtuning, and then you would turn the program knob to the right until you arrive at your user octave number. Then you can press exit, test out the sound, and don't forget to save your program at this point if you want it to automatically recall your microtuning settings with your program sound. The user octave is specifically for maintaining and applying the edited user offsets the same way throughout each octave. This means that whatever microtuning offset you make for a note, it will be that same tuning in any other octave. However, the user scale gives you the freedom to assign any note to any note in any octave with any microtuning offset. For example, I could make a C3 tuned to an F-sharp 5 that is flattened 25 cents. All right, in order to do this sort of thing, similar to editing the user octave, you would hit edit, select global edit, and then instead of the 11th button right here, you're going to push the 10th button to access user scales. And I'm going to select scale number 6. The editing process for the user scale is essentially the same as the user octave, except that you will have to edit each and every note in each and every octave that you would like to have specially microtuned. So the example I gave earlier was C3 tuned to F sharp with negative 25 cents. So I'm going to hit a C3. There's the C3 registered. I'm going to shift that up, holding shift and turning the program knob. I'm going to shift it up to F sharp in the fifth octave. All right, and then I'm going to make it 25 cents flat. And at this point, if I play a C, it's going to be playing an F sharp in a different octave with a different micro tuning. So from there, everything else is the same. User scales free you up to experiment and explore the world of extreme microtonality. And user octaves ensure that your tunings are consistent in any octave. And that makes the latter a great option for exploring alternate temperaments or even authentic tunings used in various ethnic musical traditions from around the world. In order to erase a user octave or user scale, what you have to do is hit edit mode, make sure global edit is selected, and then you're going to hit the 12th button on the sequencer row, and it'll show you scale clear, user scale 1 execute. Now you can keep hitting this button until you have selected which user scale or which user octave you want to clear. And once you've arrived at the one you wish to clear, you turn the program knob to the right and it says press right. Once you have pressed the right button, it will clear. That's it.